Hello. Let's dive directly into it. Tech has changed our lives and our behavior, there's no doubt about that. We act based upon our basic human psychological needs, where feelings like acceptance, instant gratification, and ego play an important part. I'll be sharing my thoughts regarding how tech, different trends and phenomena has molded the human behavior throughout the years, but most importantly, how cybercriminals benefit from it all. So welcome, listen to my thoughts regarding how tech changes us, we're only human. Before we get started, I will say a few words about myself. My name is Noora Hammar. I work currently at Accenture Security, where I do all kinds of stuff. Don't ask what I do, all kinds of things. Then I'm also the founder of Women for Cyber Finland, which is a non-profit organization with a mission to increase the percentage of women working in cybersecurity roles in Finland. Then I'm also, part of HelSec, currently as the chairwoman, but will not run up for elections this year. So if anyone is up for the job, please, participate and vote. Then I'm one of the co-organizers and persons behind Generation Z Hack Challenge, which will be now republished its name to be, as Riku said, Next Gen Hack FI. We've established a non-profit behind it to run things smoothly because, it's more easier to have a non-profit with, accounts and stuff, so we can move money around and sponsor things and events. Then I'm also currently involved in Disobey, a Nordic security event. I'm kind of like the head of comms, trying desperately to do all kinds of social media stuff so people know that we are alive and kicking. And I'm also one of the board members of Disobey. Disobey, if you didn't know, is a non-profit organization itself. So besides arranging the event, there's also a non-profit behind it. So that's about me. And apologies, I haven't eaten that much today, so my blood sugar is running a bit low. So if I froze and do weird things, I blame my foolishness of not eating too much at this point. Anyway, nice to meet you. My name is Noora. Glad to see you all here. So in order for us to understand how our behavior has changed throughout the years, we need to go back in time a bit. I've gathered a few examples, showing with a couple of samples how our behavior has changed and how social media has impacted and reinforced the change in our behavior. So let's get started. Let's do a warming exercise here in the beginning. Raise your hand if you were a Irk-Galleria user. This is something very familiar to us Finns. Yeah, I was also using Irk-Galleria. I had very random photos over there, and I was part of a very random groups. For example, like Rajamäki Hoods. If you know what Rajamäki is, it's a place in Nurmijärvi, a very small place. Not proud of it, but I was living my pre-teen years in that place. Irk-Galleria was a place where you could find groups. You could basically, see what your friends were doing. And you can have chats, if I recall correct, under the photos. Interaction with friends. You could share information, join into different groups of your liking, and have an online presence. Then we have MySpace. Raise your hand if you were on MySpace. Yeah, I feel you. To me, it was kind of like an odd place to be. You could share your music taste, you could spread your network, but as I was already in Irk-Galleria, why would I be in MySpace? To me, it was like, nah. But anyway, again, a place where you could network, share your information, showcase your music taste. And does someone recall, was there also a group option that you could join into groups? Was that something on MySpace? Okay. Then came Facebook, now known as Meta. Raise your hand if you're on Facebook or Meta. Yeah. I'm there too, but I'm not using my Facebook profile in an active manner. I'm basically there to stalk people. yeah, Facebook again, a platform where you could share your information, react to things with likes via reaction buttons. You could reshare things. You could join into these niche groups which sell different stuff, and you could basically argue online with your own name. Isn't that funny? Again, a place to share information, get to know other people online, network, spread your network, share information about yourself, and yeah. I don't recall if you recall, but to me it was like when Facebook was launched, I was, what the hell is this? How do I use this? How does this work? But once I saw my sister and then later on my mother using Facebook, I was like, okay, maybe I should join. Then I joined, and then, you know, the rest is history. Then came Twitter, which nowadays has this powerful tool used in modern day information security warfare, cyber warfare, called retweet. And the reason why it is a powerful tool is because of the retweet. In a matter of seconds, you can spread dis or misinformation, and you can have an impact and influence on people's opinions and perceptions of things. So it's a very powerful modern day tool. So be careful out there, Twitter people. I've left Twitter since because of this Elon Musk thing. Not naming any names, but you know, if Elon Musk is a name, then I guess he's to blame. But he's totally bonkers, isn't he? I don't know what's happened to him. Maybe a power trip, but you know, I had enough, so I decided to leave. But do you know what? Twitter doesn't allow you to leave, because once you leave, they take your multi-factor authentication away from you. And still you have that profile for 30 days before it's totally deleted. So for those 30 days, once you have deleted your profile, they take the multi-factor authentication away, leaving your account vulnerable, you know, to be exploitable. So I decided to leave my profile since I wanted to secure it with multi-factor authentication. So I'm there, but I'm not really on Twitter. But I don't know if do they do this because they want to keep the statistics alive? So they have, you know, the user base, you know, increasing, being stable and all. But you know, I'm not on Twitter. And then you shouldn't be there either. Something happened with my clicker. Apologies for that. But as you saw already, then came LinkedIn, a place to buzz, to build your personal brand, place to, you know, sugarcoat your resume and be a person such as security evangelist or something very fancy and very mystique. But you know, a place where you can sugarcoat things until someone calls and asks from someone, hey, does this Matti Möttönen really do these things? Is he that good what he says and pretends to be on LinkedIn? Of course he's not. So, you know, online and social media is not always what it seems to be. But then again, a place where you can share information, and by using different hashtags, people are able to find you. And I will showcase you an example what I mean. But, you know, LinkedIn really is a treasure chest for cyber criminals, and especially for red teamers. You can get so good information and material from LinkedIn. You know, whole organization structure, who does what, who's working in the accounting, who's the CEO, what are the responsibility areas, and email addresses. Oh, how nice is that? Very, very handy. 2010 came, Instagram. Raise your hand if you're on Instagram. Interesting. Instagram became with this functionality of photo sharing, and I recall having this one and only filter being used, and of course everyone used that one and only filter until Instagram ended up their filter game, and now there's like 8 filters, I don't know. Again, place where you can share information of yourself, photos, anything that you like. Instagram has also, you know, become a place to earn a living. And I'm talking about these people calling themselves social media influencers. And it really bugs me that these people calling themselves social media influencers have started to share photos of their children and toddlers. These are the persons who don't have a say into things yet at that stage, because they're too young to understand. But yet, again, the decision has been made for them by their parents, who should know better. They have established their children's digital footprint without the children's consent, and I think that sucks. That's shit. Pardon my language. Sorry, not sorry. But I do dislike this trend or phenomenon. Again, Instagram became a place where you can like, which feeds the human need of acceptance and gratification. And then you could like other people's photos as well. It became a place to stroke each other's egos, isn't it? Oh, I really like your sweater, that's so nice. Is that from Uniqlo? Like, interaction and stuff. And then again, people are fed with gratification and feeling of acceptance by those who like and comment on the photos. So we began to be more or less hooked on the feeling that once we share something, we get this instant gratification in the form of likes or reshares. And that's addictive. Let's go forward. 2011 came Snapchat. Anyone on Snapchat? You're the only one. I was on Snapchat, I must admit. Not bragging, but I had a huge follower base. But then I decided to delete the account, because once you do things, you want to do it more better, and blah, blah, blah. And then I decided, okay, I do not have time for this shit, so I deleted my account. Again, Snapchat is a place where you could express yourself, share your thoughts, and these kind of snaps. Wasn't it so that the snaps will disappear after 24 hours?
My story was the 24 hours.
My story, yeah. We have an expert here, thank you. Yeah, so anyway, a place where you could share and express yourself, reveal information, and then probably when you meet someone online, you could start, not an email exchange, but information exchange and get to know them. And still, all these profiles put online, we don't still know are they like the ones who they claim to be, unless we would meet them in real life and truly get to know them. So that's another kind of thing to consider as well. Going forward, I'm not going to ask is anyone on Tinder. That would be too weird. But I guess people are familiar how Tinder works. So basically, you set up a profile, then write something on your bio, maybe that I like beer, I like to travel, blah, 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 and then select some quality photos of yourself, giving a good impression. And then people would swipe left, right. And this is also something which creates kind of like a vulnerable situation for the people on Tinder, because they are in the hopes of finding that special someone, but then again, there is a risk of someone misleading you, trying to lure you into these love scams or romance scams. And once you are too much invested into it, it's very hard to withdraw from the situation. Let's say you have been exchanging messages for 6 months with someone, you're way too deep in it already. So once we say, hey, do not transfer the money to Björn Johansson to Norway, he's not who he says he is, the person would say, well, he said he likes my dogs and my flowers, and, that's, the emotional bond is too strong at that point, and the psychology behind it is too strong. So, through trial and error, these people will learn not to trust people online until they have really met them. So again, place to share information, and then personal information once you change messages privately with that special someone you have swiped to the left and you've got a match. Moving forward, became Yodel. Does anyone here use Yodel? I'm on Yodel because I like to stalk people. And I'm admitting it because I'm interested in human psychology and how we people operate when we operate and act. Because every time we do something, we act based upon our basic human psychological needs. And that's what's interesting, the human behavior. Yeah, Yodel is a place, it's an app where all these kind of different channels per topic. There is like car repair, new home buyers, bad customer experiences, you name it, fashion, healthcare, you know, whatever. You'll find that channel writing the topic from the search field, in the search field. 2015, does anyone know what this is? Yes, we have an expert here. A frequent user, I suppose. Periscope was an American live video streaming app which was discontinued in March because it didn't have that much users and it was very costly to keep it alive. So they decided to withdraw the whole thing. And when you look at this line full of apps, they all have something in common. They all copy each other one way or another because once something is found that is working good, of course you want to copy it. You want to, you know, make the best out of it in your own application and mimic it in some way. Then, finally came TikTok. You know, China, government surveillance and laws to support that. Espionage, nation state. Now, how handy is it that people free willingly give their information? I'm putting my tinfoil hat on now. But how amazing it is to have people free willingly giving out the information to these apps made in China. Are you people aware of the Chinese law where the citizens of China need to report to the government if they see and hear something? Which, yeah, one hand, thank you. 2 hands, excellent. 3 hands, anyway. Wikipedia is the place where you can find that information from, for example. But it's an interesting state. And what else these apps do have in common is that they are used by us humans, and we humans act based upon our basic human psychological needs, and those needs are catered with these functionalities which these apps provide. Likes, reaction buttons, shares, comment fields. And then we have the warm fuzzy feeling which we get when people react to our things. For example, now I was very glad you raised your hand and reacted to my question, are you using Tinder or Yodel? Anyway, ego plays an important part when we do all these things on social media. And all these apps are exploiting the human behavior, sharing information. Once you share, you are, expecting a reaction, which then feels good. You feel accepted. You will have gratification out of it. Most of your ego is stroked. So, hats off to the persons who have stayed away from social media and do not feel the need to show anyone anything, because those are the true psychological winners of the war game here. And again, once you have learned something, it's really hard to unlearn those habits, because you're hooked. You're hooked on the feeling that you get when someone likes you, likes your things online, and reshares your things or quotes you, not quote, but quote, lainata. And once we have done this since the beginning of Irk-galleria, shared information, found soulmates, people online sharing the same interest as us, is very addictive. And it's very hard to unlearn that behavior that has evolved since the first app people have started to use. Samuli Järvinen was one of the that gave a talk at HelSec, and he was having a talk where he was recommending people to think with their prefrontal cortex. That's what I also recommend people to do. To think before they do anything, and the consequences of modern day era, especially in the cyber era, modern day cyber era. And once people have inserted the information to all these apps, we have all this data which then can be, used against us in a negative way. And of course, the ones who are grabbing the data and doing something bad with it or whatever, most of the times they will get something out of it, and that is money. And with all that money, you can do lots more. As they say, money is power. And becoming a cyber criminal isn't that hard nowadays. There are services you can buy. I'm not going to recommend any, but once you go to Google and write down like ransomware as a service or whatever as a service, only thing you need to do then is provide your credit card, and then you can do whatever. It's very easy to become a cyber criminal or do any kind of criminal activities online nowadays. So, don't do it. Let's go back in time a bit. Just checking my slides. I remember being a teen. I didn't have a smartphone. And I recall calling a friend after school. Hi, Suvi. Is Suvi at home? No, she's playing basketball. Okay, I will try to call her back again. Then, after an hour, hi, it's Noora here. Is Suvi home? No, she went shopping with Mom. Okay, I will call her later. So I didn't know where Suvi was, so I needed to check upon her. And most of the time she wasn't at home, and I didn't see her anywhere online because there was not an online presence back then. I was a preteen in the 90s. So every time I needed to check up on my friends, I needed to walk to their house, like 5 kilometers away, then, realizing they're not at home, going back home, hoping that they were at home once I get back my home, calling them and saying, hey, can we meet after school tomorrow or something? So I didn't know that where Suvi was, her whereabouts. We didn't have any social media apps, like now Suvi is live streaming something, or Suvi is sharing an IG story that she is at a coffee shop doing something, whatever. I needed to check every time. The times we now live in, thanks to the apps we have, which have molded our behavior to the existing one, it's almost impossible for us to wait for things, as we have used to the feeling of now, getting the instant gratification. Let me ask you, are any of you part of these WhatsApp groups with group of friends and stuff, or single groups? Yeah. And isn't it so that once those messages start popping on your screen, you will get, I'm not gonna, force you to imagine things, but to me it's like annoying, and then I've muted every chat I'm in. Sorry, guys. But once those notifications start popping onto my screen, I have this urge to look at them, see what they're writing and reacting to those then, because I cannot, ignore them. Thus, muting. An excellent functionality. I love the mute button. I've actually muted my mother on Facebook. That's another story. I just wanted to also say that we live in the now called on-demand era. Everything is available, ready for made for us, and it has resulted in this situation that we have forgotten the phone numbers of our nearest and dearest. I don't remember my mother's phone number, or my sister's, or my husband's. I have my phone. I just tap on their name and the call begins. I was supposed to call my mother during this speech, just to check that does she remember my phone number, but she's too busy now being retired and all, so I decided to skip that part. But it would be funny to call her, and then she would say, well, don't you have it on your phone? And I'm like, yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. But anyway, does any one of you remember your nearest and dearest phone number? Okay, so you're those guys, yeah. Great. I don't. And when everything is made for us, it leaves us humans in a very, very vulnerable situation called dependency. We are dependent on, hey, don't look at your smartphone. That's exactly what I mean. We are dependent on things to work for us because that's something we've used to. Everything is ready-made for us. And that's where us humans get that state of vulnerability. And that's what makes us human. And that's great, but stay alert. Okay, that's a weird space between. But anyways, so what's wrong with sharing? Is there anything wrong with sharing? Well, there's nothing wrong with sharing as long as you are aware of your end audience. Nowadays, people are too excited to share news regarding about themselves, whatever, and they don't quite understand, especially on social media and online, how widespread their shareables truly are. And that's where cybercriminals somewhere are thanking you when you have not been mindful of your privacy settings or the information you share. I guess I'm not going to generalize, but I assume that people in this group know that cybercriminals gather their puzzle piece by piece, and once they have the full puzzle, they can proceed to the attack phase. That's kind of like very generic way to put it. So you have to know and understand your audience. And here is not a live example, but example I got from LinkedIn. A treasure chest for anything, really. Whoa. Hello. I found this from LinkedIn just by using very simple hashtags as goodbye, new job, and what else? Last working day, thank you, goodbye. And of course the company, Cognizant. Then let's continue. Again, from the same company, I guess. Goodbye, Cognizant, Unitech. Same hashtag as the previous picture or the post. Let's move forward. Again, from Cognizant. Goodbye was the hashtag I found this picture from with. And then this fourth picture with the hashtag goodbye. And I wanted to demonstrate you how stressful it is for the information security policymakers within that company, which have decided about the guidelines of how to act in a secure way. And these people, although you need more than this access card to gain access to premises, but that's one thing. Again, puzzle is being built piece by piece. So be mindful what you share on LinkedIn. Although if you are been lucky enough to score that amazing job, still don't leave a pile of shit behind. Riku, not now. So where is my data? All the apps and services we've signed up for contain just the kind of data we have given ourselves once signing up for those services. And when we sign up for these services, of course we trust that the service is secure to use. Why would someone build an unsecure service? That's not an operative business model, isn't it? Why are you laughing? But we really cannot be sure whether these apps or services we use are secure enough, now can we? We cannot know the level of expertise or ambition or amount of investment made to secure these systems and operations. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are doing in your daily work development as a Sec DevOps model? How many of you? At Accenture Security, we offer secure DevOps, whatever. But it's truly something to consider, because that's another way to make sure that your product is, secure enough to be released into the production phase. Maybe a code review, elements like that. All we can do is trust until proven otherwise. But remember, Everything is broken. Nothing is secure. Thank you. See you all at Disobey in February.